There's a moment in Freddy vs. Jason, around the time Jason Voorhees is full-body launching Freddy Krueger through a series of windows like a demonic crash test dummy, when it clicks. This isn't just a horror movie, this is a full-blown double kick drum headbanging nu metal showdown wearing a hockey mask and finger knives. And whether you're here for the kills, the chaos, or the kill switch engage, one thing is clear: Freddy vs. Jason is the most nu metal horror film ever made, and it's not even close. Let's not undersell the movie itself. Released in 2003, Freddy vs. Jason was the cinematic equivalent of a dream match. Two of horror's most iconic slashers colliding in a film that was decades in the making, fueled by fan demand and a mountain of failed scripts. But once it hit theaters, it gave audiences exactly what they wanted: blood, mayhem, bad decisions, and one of the most aggressively crunchy soundtracks ever pressed onto CD. And that soundtrack, that's where this monster mash becomes a masterpiece of its moment.
Pick up the album with 3 collectible covers, in stores now.
It's not hyperbole to say that Freddy vs. Jason's soundtrack isn't just part of the film, it is the film. From the opening credits to the final blow, the music acts as both the score and emotional undercurrent, fueling each kill, every punch, and all the absurd drama with wall-to-wall distortion, screaming vocals, and drop D tuning. The track list reads like a Battle of the Bands flyer left behind at a skate park. We've got kill switch engages when Darkness Falls, Spine Shank's Beginning of the End, Slipknot's Snap, then we've got Mushroom Head, Sepultura, In Flames, Stone Sour, Il Nino, and so many more. It's a sonic barrage of chugging guitars and cathartic chaos, each song perfectly timed to accompany Jason slicing a raver in half, or Freddy contorting through a dream sequence like a burn-scarred acrobat. These aren't background tunes, they're part of the violence. They sync with the movement, punctuate the edits, and amplify the absurdity until it becomes something transcendently fun. Every horror movie has a tone, while Freddy vs. Jason's tone is a mosh pit. It's important to understand what nu metal was in the early 2000s. It wasn't just a genre, it was a culture. This was the era when music videos looked like horror films, and horror films wanted to look like music videos. Distorted vocals, theatrical angst, and aggressive beats found a natural home in genre cinema, especially as horror leaned harder into spectacle and stylization. Before Freddy vs. Jason, other films dipped their toes into the nu metal pool. Queen of the Damned flirted with it, Resident Evil invited it over for dinner, but Freddy vs. Jason, it made nu metal the guest of honor, handed it the keys, and told it to drive the movie straight into a wall of fire, which surprisingly actually worked. The collaboration between the film and Roadrunner Records was no accident. This was a carefully curated marriage of horror and headbanging. The music didn't just fill space, it defined pace, enhanced fights, and reminded viewers that this wasn't your dad's slasher flick. This was louder, bloodier, and meant to be felt as much as watched.
Now there's a face only a mother could love.
Take Spine Shank's Beginning of the End. It plays during a dream sequence that's equal parts surreal horror and visualized trauma. The vocals grind into your ears while Freddy taunts his victims in a nightmare boiler room. The song builds just as the scene does, both crashing towards a crescendo of screaming terror. Later, when Jason and Freddy are finally trading blows, the soundtrack doesn't play shy. Songs like Mushroom Head's Sun Doesn't Rise and Slipknot's Snap doesn't just fill the silence, they challenge the sound design, daring the movie to be bigger, louder, and angrier, which somehow never feels like overkill. It's actually welcome. There's an almost poetic rhythm to the way these songs are used. When characters die, and oh boy do they die, it's not mournful, it's celebratory, it's theatrical, and it's metal as hell. It transforms each death into an event, each chase into choreography, and each character decision into a drumbeat towards destruction. Let's be honest, the characters in Freddy vs. Jason are as much part of the aesthetic as the soundtrack. They're walking, talking music video extras. Hot, dumb, doomed, and ready to bleed. They speak in clunky exposition and edgy zingers. But that's the point.
I mean, come on, get real. You're not even scary. You're not even scary.
They're not here to make smart decisions. They're here to be set on fire while Seether plays. Monica Keena, Jason Ritter, and Kelly Rowland give it their all, even when the dialogue feels like it was written by a possessed Korn fan. But their performances are bolstered, sometimes saved, by the soundtrack. These characters don't have much depth, but they have a vibe, and that vibe is 110% Monster Energy fueled. Director Ronnie Yu, having directed Bride of Chucky as well, leaned into the nu metal aesthetic with fearless commitment. He didn't shy away from camp or gore. Instead, he made everything bigger. Blood sprays and geysers, dream sequences that spiral into surreal chaos, and every moment, the music pulses just beneath the surface, ready to kick in like a bass drop from hell. Yu didn't just direct the movie, he composed it. Not with a baton, but with chainsaws and chugging guitars. And it's felt in every scene. Where many horror films of the era tried to tone things down or go full nihilist, Freddy vs. Jason chose violence and volume. It embraced its absurdity, and in doing so it created one of the most joyfully chaotic films in horror history. While we're not asking you to be a nu metal fan to appreciate this, it certainly doesn't hurt. 20 years later, Freddy vs. Jason remains a unique entry in horror history, not just as a crossover event, but as a cultural artifact. It's a time capsule from the nu metal era, sure, but it also represents the end of an age. It was one of the last big-budget theatrical slasher films before the genre gave way to found footage prestige horror, A24 weirdness, and Blumhouse minimalism. Despite that, people still revisit it, not just for Freddy, not just for Jason, but for the wild, over-the-top energy that only this film captured. In 2020, the fine folks over at Mondo, those beautiful vinyl wizards, released a limited edition pressing of the film's score, composed by Graham Revel. It was a blood-red slab of wax that looked like it could double as one of Jason's weapons, and it sold out pretty fast. But here's the catch. While the orchestral score got the deluxe treatment, we're still waiting for the official nu metal soundtrack to get the same love. No re-release, no remaster, not even a "We Heard You Bro" from Roadrunner Records. And honestly, it's time to start a petition. Let's get this soundtrack pressed on vinyl, housed in a gatefold cover in barbed wire and flames, and bundled with a novelty chain wallet. Hell, if the Queen of the Damned soundtrack can get a glow up, so can this monster. Who's with me?
Look, he has taken everything from us. He has ruined both of our pasts. And I am not leaving until I see him die.
In conclusion, Freddy vs. Jason isn't perfect. It's messy, it's loud, it's ridiculous, but that's exactly what makes it iconic. This is not a movie that you watch quietly. This is a movie that you crank to 11, preferably with a strobe light on and an old Slipknot hoodie nearby, if you actually have one. And the music, it's not just a backdrop, it's a co-star. It gives the film its identity, its energy, and its legacy. Without nu metal, Freddy vs. Jason would be just another slasher sequel. It became a full-throttle celebration of horror, headbanging, and horror fans who don't take themselves too seriously. So if you have not revisited this film in a while, do yourself a favor, put on Beginning of the End, hit play, and let the screams, riffs, and blood splatter remind you what it meant when horror went nu metal. Welcome to the pit. Freddy and Jason are waiting.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.